Yet the inquiry into the means and the goal. साध्यते साधनेनैव साध्यं किमपि केनचित् अप्राप्तस्य हि प्राप्त्यर्थं ज्ञानं कर्म च साधनम् अविद्यया चेदप्राप्तं तर्हि ज्ञानं हि साधनं प्रमाणतो विचारेण ज्ञानं संजायते स्फुटम्. Anyone can attain any goal by the right means alone. In order to gain something which is unattained, the means are knowledge and action. If a thing appears to be unattained due to ignorance, then knowledge alone is the means to gain it. Clear knowledge arises by inquiring through a valid means of knowledge. Various goals of life can be categorized into two. We will now think of the goal and the means to attain them. Far from attained. That which is not with us now is away from us in time, place, or stature, falls into two categories: attainment of the unattained, apraptasya prapti. For attaining it, we need the right knowledge followed by right action. For example, an Indian wishes to visit the US. He will have to know all the formalities and then do the needful. Apply for visa, attend the interview, buy the tickets, and travel. A miss wants to become a missus. She will have to source information on shadi.com, meet the chosen boy, decide to marry, plan the wedding, and get married. A person wishing to build a house on his land will have to hire an architect and so on. If one acts first or without the right knowledge, he may not achieve his goal. For example, ignorance of the formalities cannot be used as an excuse for non following the rules about procuring an export license. Some act on impulse and regret at leisure. Why did I not think before marrying? Some only gather information but never act on it. Many people collect lot of books but never get down to reading them. They intend but are not intent. Some know a lot about meditation but never practice it. Some only wish to meditate. They neither know nor do anything. Therefore, to attain the unattained, we must adopt the means of right knowledge followed by right actions. Nearest yet farthest, that which is already with us, but we feel it is not attained due to ignorance, falls into the second category of goals. Attainment of the attained raptasya prapti. The only means to attain it is by knowledge of the so called unattained thing. No action is needed thereafter. Knowledge itself is its gain. For example, a man in a drunken stupor sitting at his home feels he is lost in a forest. His wife pours a bucket of ice cold water on him. When he comes to his senses, he realizes that he is already home. A person wearing spectacles frantically searches for them and finally realizes that they are right on her nose. In Hindi, there is a proverb, बगल में चोर गांव में ढिंडोरा, नहीं, बगल में छोरा गांव में ढिंडोरा, which means looking for something far away which is right under your nose. A woman was searching the whole town for her child who was sleeping peacefully under the cot at home. In all the above examples, we note that no action was needed either before or after the knowledge of the similes. Yet we look for happiness in distant lands, in different things, and in various relationships. It is the nearest, yet seems the farthest, as we are looking for it, where it is not, as it is not in the not self, anatma, and meaning the means to attain the self is self knowledge. It cannot be attained through any actions, be they religious acts or spiritual practices. Inquiry into the truth, as revealed by the scriptures, gives rise to self knowledge. The means of realization propounded by the scriptures are Shravanam, Mananam, Dhyanam, Vedantasyaiva Sadhanam, Prochate Swatmalabhartham, Mukhyatastu Gurokh Kripa. Listening, reflecting, and meditating on Vedanta are said to be the means of realization of the self. However, the primary factor is the Guru's blessings. Listening to Vedanta Shravan. Since Vedanta is the only valid means of self knowledge, we are asked to listen to the scriptures on Vedanta, Upanishads, Gita, Brahma Sutras, and not about other philosophies or religious stories. However intellectually stimulating or emotionally satisfying they are. Listening is not hearing or memorizing. It is to ascertain the very purport of Vedanta. It is determined that all the scriptures of Vedanta expound the oneness of the individual and the supreme truth, that I am the infinite self, existence, consciousness, bliss. Reflection on Vedanta Manana. Reflection does not mean repetition of the thoughts, ratana, or reading the scriptures again and again, parayana. Its purpose is to make the knowledge I am the infinite self, doubtless, through the logic in line with the scriptures. Shrutimatasterkonusandhiyataam. Without proper Shravana, Manana will only give rise to more confusions. One saint said, people do Shravana of Vedanta, but Manana on worldly matters. So they get direct realization of sorrow instead of the truth. लोग श्रवण वेदांत का करते हैं और चिंतन संसार का करते हैं तो साक्षात्कार दुख का होगा. One lady, after listening to talks on Brahma Sutra, requested me for a private meeting. She then asked me, we are not able to find a suitable groom for my daughter. Does the Brahma Sutra have any solution for my problem? All the time I was speaking on Brahma Sutra, her mind was only on Mangala Sutra, the necklace given to the bride for her marriage. After listening to the scriptures, we are advised to reflect on Vedanta. Meditate on Vedanta Nididhyasan. In spite of doubtless intellectual conviction that I am the infinite self, the impressions and tendencies of the present and the past lives, that I am the finite individual, and our strong worldly attachments and desires do not leave easily. We need to constantly meditate to strengthen the thought I am the infinite self. such that our intellectual conviction, paroksha jnana, becomes our direct realization, aparoksha jnana, and we get deeply rooted in it. Without proper manana, nididhyasana is not effective. Guru's grace. In the above three means, since there is no external doing but only knowing, these seem difficult to many. Most seekers experience a state where they know intellectually, yet know not directly. Many feel that they are not progressing and do not see a way out. Some remain in confusion about everything. Some have partly understood the knowledge, some have misunderstood, and some even profound their misunderstood thoughts to others as gospel truth. We therefore understand that in every stage in a seeker's journey, the grace and guidance of the Guru are vital for progress. Our efforts too have to be blessed by the Guru. It is said that liberation happens only with Guru's grace. Mokshamulam Gurukh Krupa Guru Gita. And that is the only and main means. Guru Krupa hi Kevalam. Totakacharya, whom the other learned disciples of Adi Shankaracharya considered quite ignorant, devotedly did all menial chores for the Guru. Once the Guru asked him to teach the rest of the disciples. Without hesitation, he expounded the deepest meanings of the scriptures to the utter amazement of all. It is said that to he who has supreme devotion to the Guru, as he has in God, to him the scriptures reveal their true meaning. Yasya deve para bhaktir yatha deve tatha gurau tasyete kathita yartha prakashante mahatmanah. Shvetashvatara Upanishad 6.23. Dedicated service to the Guru, faith and surrender to him makes the mind ready for the highest knowledge, which by Guru's grace spontaneously results in self-realization. Inquiry into spiritual practices, sadhana, viveka. This section starts with a question by the disciple regarding spiritual practices and the Guru's reply. Sadhanam antarangam kim bahirangam kim uchyate chitta shuddhi samadhana karakam sadhanam bahi yajñodanam tapaschadi sagunopasanam japah sadhanam bahirangam tat kathyate shastra sajjanaihi. The disciple asks, what is the inner spiritual practice, antaranga sadhana, and the outer spiritual practice, bahiranga sadhana? The Guru replies, the methods for attaining purity and absorption of mind are the outer practices. The scriptures and wise men enumerate outer spiritual practices like ritualistic fire worship, yajna, charity, dana, austerity, tapas, worship of God, saguna, upasana, and repetition of a mantra, japa, and so on. Prepare to know. The means of Shravana, Manana, and Nididhyasana seem difficult. The grace factor also is not in our hands. So the seeker wishes to know if there are any easier means for or preparatory means for the above or spiritual practices which would aid in invoking grace. A pure, subtle, and concentrated mind is a fit instrument for Shravana, Manana, and Nididhyasana. Spiritual practices done to prepare the mind are called external practices, Bahiranga Sadhana. They are like the pre medical tests which one passes before applying for the medical course. There are many such spiritual practices recommended by the scriptures and saints. Here the Guru enumerates a few of them. Worship Yajna. Traditionally, Yajna is a fire ritual through which we worship the deities or God. In a broader sense, it is to dedicate all our actions and resources to a divine altar or a higher cause. Gurudev Swami Chinmayananda would call it a cooperative endeavor, wherein we sink our individual likes, dislikes, and selfishness and work for the welfare of all. This is called Yajna spirit. The attitude of selfless dedication is in this way all our activities become spiritual practices. Charity dana. It is to give to the needy generously and respectfully. It is to share what we have as a duty as we thank God for showering us with abundance. It is to take on the responsibility of taking care of the less fortunate and is a meritorious way of distribution of wealth. Charity helps us get rid of our possessiveness towards things and creates love and compassion in us. When we do actions as an offering, yajna spirit, what we receive as a result is considered as his gift, prasad, which should be shared with others and then partaken. Charity is also a way to acknowledge and show our gratitude towards all who help in our success. We, therefore, symbolically keep 5 morsels of food before we eat to show our gratitude towards the deities Devaruna, our ancestors Pitruruna, the sages of your Rishiruna, and society Samajruna, and Nruruna, and beings other than human beings, the plant and animal world Bhutaruna. Austerity Tapa. Tapas is to consciously live a simple life or to take on vows like fasting in order to develop self control and conserve our energy. Forbearance is to bear the pinpricks that come unasked, whereas austerity is consciously taking on vows which may cause discomfort mentally or physically for the sake of a higher cause. For example, bathing every day in the ice cold waters of the holy Ganga or climbing the mountain by foot to Vaishno Devi. To torture the body as a punishment is not a recommended form of austerity. Worship, charity, austerity, yajna, dana, tapa. These are three important spiritual practices as they create harmony in the individual adhyatmika, societal adhibhautika, and universal level adhidaivika. Austerity tunes and fine tunes the body and mind. Charity creates harmony in society, and worship helps us to live in sync with the phenomenal forces, the universe. The divine entities are with God's will. Sri Krishna too tells Arjun that these three should become lifelong practices and should not be given up as they are purifying. We continue in the class. Hari Om. Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om.